one thing to hunt a beast, another to hunt a machine. You must be humble and respect their power. I will teach you this one day.
The Watcher is the smallest known machines. Watchers are designed for reconnaissance. The machine exists in two models, a basic model and a slightly stronger upgraded variant. While no information is currently available about when Watchers first appeared, it seems likely that they were one of the machines designed by Gaia to assist in terraforming, possibly by monitoring the conditions of flora and fauna, or to guard other terraforming machines from external dangers such as wild animals. However, during the derangement, the AI Hephaestus altered the machine's behavior in response to the human practice of machine hunting, giving Watchers the role of sentries against human hunters. Watchers are primarily deployed in groups around herds of small terraforming machines such as Stiders, Grazers and Lancehorns. Each Watcher patrols a circuitous path around the herd, stopping at intervals to crane its neck vertically to its full length and optically scan the area. This allows the herd to work without having to stop and look out for threats. If a Watcher detects and identifies a threat, it loudly sounds a warning, causing the herd to break and flee. Frequently Watchers are deployed in tandem with a combat machine such as a Sawtooth, which will immediately converge on the alerting Watcher's position as a primary threat response. In addition to reconnaissance, Watchers are also deployed as escorts for machine convoys bringing resources to cauldrons. The Longleg is a reconnaissance class machine, alongside Watchers and other small machines. It is one of 3 known avian machines, however, it is incapable of flight. As a recon machine, it patrols on a constant lookout for perceived threats. Unlike its much smaller fellow recon machine the Watcher, it is able to scan and call reinforcements via radar as well as visually. It is also one of the 4 machines that can locate a player through tall grass. Like all combat-capable machines, Longlegs began appearing after the onset of the derangement. They were presumably created by Hephaestus upon deciding that it needed a recon machine that was combat-capable and much more dangerous to humans than Watchers. As Gaia states that many machine designs are based off of extinct megafauna, it is possible that a Longleg's chassis is based off a Forest Racid, Terror bird. The head terminates in a vertical pair of sharp, beak-like structures, and is mounted on a long, flexible neck. 6 optical sensors are located on each side of the head in the same position as a ratite's eyes. 3 antennae extend from the back of the head, from which the Longleg can emit a signal calling for reinforcements. Mounted on the chest are a pair of bulbous components called concussion sacs. These are part of its scanning array, as well as powering one of its attacks. Each of its 2 short, flightless wings are equipped with 3 engines that emit jet-like blasts of flame, which the Longleg uses in attacks. Each of its 2 feet is equipped with a single claw. A power cell composed of a pair of components called sparkers is mounted on its lower back. Longlegs are mainly deployed in groups of no more than 3 to patrol around herds of zero-dawn terraformers, allowing them to work without having to stop and watch for perceived threats. Each Longleg walks in a set circuitous path around the herd, frequently stopping to scan the surroundings. While scanning, unalerted, and even overridden, Longlegs are frequently seen firing their sonic blasts towards the horizon, scanning for humans and other threats in the tall grass with echolocation. Longlegs guard the sole known Behemoth site. Pairs of Longlegs also escort Behemoths and Shell Walkers in machine convoys. The Thunderjaw is a large combat class machine, one of the two largest machines of this class, the other machine being the Tremortusk. Its size, power, and array of heavily damaging weapons make it one of the most feared of all machines. Unlike the Zero Dawn terraforming machines, which were designed and controlled by Gaia, the Thunderjaw was designed by the AI Hephaestus, which had seized control of the Cauldron facilities and begun aggressive countermeasures to the human practice of machine hunting. Thunderjaws are one of the most extreme examples of Hephaestus, escalating attempts to cull the human population. The Thunderjaw is a huge bipedal machine with features akin to those of a Tyrannosaurus rex, powerful and bulky legs, a long body, and a heavy tail to maintain equilibrium. Its body features symmetrical weaponry, a laser weapon in its mouth, cannons on its jaws, a radar array on its back, and disc launchers on its hips. Like most large machines, Thunderjaws are found alone. A pair can be found together protecting a herd of Lancehorns in the Glarebrake, west of Free Heath. When undisturbed, Thunderjaws mill about their respective sites, their footfalls an early warning to anyone wandering too close. They are so massive that they can knock over trees just by walking into them. The Thunderjaw's huge size, power, array of weapons, and capacity to sustain damage make it one of the most formidable machines. It employs a variety of powerful melee and ranged attacks. Additionally, its radar scanner allows quick detection of hunters hiding in tall grass. Unlike that of a Scrapper, which is able to detect only movement, the Thunderjaw's radar can detect humans regardless of their motion. The Stormbird is a large aerial combat class machine. Its ability to fly distinguishes it from other machines of this class. Its huge size, intimidating appearance, superior field of vision, due to being aerial, and an array of powerful attacks make it a lethal threat to any human who enters an area over which a Stormbird patrols. Stormbirds were not created as combat machines. Instead, they were originally designed by Gaia to work under its subordinate function Ether, to detoxify Earth's atmosphere, which was ravaged by the Pharaoh plague, though there is some evidence that the basic design concept may actually date back to the old world origins of Project Zero Dawn. However, Hephaestus gained control over machine manufacture and weaponized Stormbirds, remodeling them from aerial detoxifiers to powerful aerial combat machines. Stormbirds are raptorial in appearance. Indeed, while machines generally resemble some form of pre-zero-day animal life, the Stormbird's appearance does so more than many other known machines. Its resemblance to a bird of prey is unmistakable, with raptorial wings, tail, head and feet, armor plating that resembles feathers, and taloned feet. It has two optical sensor arrays positioned in the same place as the eyes of an eagle or falcon. Above each shoulder is an armored chillwater canister. Each wing is equipped with 3 feather-shaped jet engines. The wings are equipped with winglets, enhancing their aerodynamic efficiency. An armored blaze canister is positioned above each hip. Each of the 4 toes on each foot is equipped with a talon. In the center of the chest is an armored electrical energy projectile weapon known as a lighting gun, with which it can fire powerful blasts of electrical energy, similar to a shell walker. Stormbirds are solitary. At no time have they ever been seen to congregate. They circle high overhead at their respective sites, almost never landing except to attack a perceived enemy. Stormbird sites are scattered throughout the Karja Sundom, from the Jewel to the mountains far north of Meridian. They are mainly found in the arid regions north and northeast of Meridian. Though they have never been seen active in the cut, the chassis of one, long destroyed and heavily encrusted with blue gleam, is at the end of the pilgrimage route known as the Shaman's Path. The Stalker is a medium-sized combat class machine. However, it is unique among combat machines in that, while all other known combat machines employ open aggression, the Stalker employs stealth. Its adeptness at ambushing, coupled with its deployment in areas where visibility is challenging, such as jungle environments, makes the Stalker a particularly grave threat to any human in these environments. The chassis of a Stalker is distinct from that of the other known combat machines in 2 respects. Firstly, whereas these machines are heavy-set and built for power, Stalkers are slender and streamlined. Secondly, whereas the armor of these machines consists of large, white-fitted pieces, a Stalker's armor plating is black, and is composed of relatively small hexagonal plates that fit together in a chainmail pattern. 4 optical sensor arrays are located on each side of their head, with the sensors arranged in a trapezoidal configuration. Each of their 4 feet is equipped with 3 claws. A dart gun is located between its shoulders, and on each hip is a proximity mine launcher. A power cell rests atop its lower back, to which 4 long, antenna-like structures are attached. The machine has a retractable tail that is almost twice as long as its body, equipped with a sharp spike at the tip. Finally, a cloaking device called a stealth generator is mounted on the belly. Stalkers can be found on their own or in small packs. Built specifically for ambush attacks, the majority of them are deployed in jungle regions, such as the Jewel or the Raintrace, where the dense foliage limits their visibility to humans. They usually position themselves cloaked with heads downward on vertical surfaces such as trees and cliffsides, in absolute stillness. Alternatively, they also walk about uncloaked, partially obscured by the jungle's undergrowth. In either case, Stalkers place glowing red alarm flares that, when activated by getting too close, will launch into the sky and emit a loud noise. These alarms are not triggered by anything smaller than a human, or by other machines. Upon the triggering of an alarm, all Stalkers in the site will cloak and converge at the area the flare was launched. However, this can be abused by using tripcasters to set traps and luring the Stalkers into them. The Scorcher is a mid-sized combat class machine. It bears some similarities to the Ravager, but it is far more powerful, agile and aggressive. A very agile and dangerous combat machine with fire-augmented melee attacks and a mounted mine launcher for ranged engagement. The Scorcher's chassis somewhat resembles that of a Ravager, but does not have the Ravager's tactical vulnerability to fire. Indeed, whereas Ravagers are weak against fire, this element is the Scorcher's forte. Its head is lupine, with a long, toothy snout, a split jaw and large ear-like structures. A pair of optical sensor arrays is positioned in the same location as a fox's eyes. Mounted on its back, between its heavy-set shoulders, is a mine launcher. Positioned atop each shoulder is a heavily armored blaze canister, and between its haunches is an equally heavily armored power generator. Scorchers are found alone or in packs of up to 3, either guarding a herd of terraforming machines or in the herd's immediate vicinity, near enough to hear and immediately respond to their alarm cries on detecting a threat. Their servo motors produce a characteristic heavy, clanking sound, and embers periodically fall like spittle from their mouths, increasing their intimidating appearance. If a perceived threat such as a human is identified, either by them or a nearby machine, they immediately converge on the position and engage it. The Sawtooth was designed by Hephaestus, which had previously manufactured the machines under GAIA's direction. Hostile toward humans for their predations on the terraforming machines for parts and resources, Hephaestus made the machines hostile to humans, a phenomenon the tribes call the derangement, with watchers as lookouts against hunters. It then began producing Sawtooths and other combat machines as the next logical step in protection. It produced Sawtooths at Cauldron Sigma. The name, Sawtooth, was coined by the hunter Kavam of the Kaja tribe. A hawk of the Kaja Hunters Lodge, Kavam responded to a request to the lodge from the prefect of the Kaja Fort Daytower to find and eliminate a mysterious heretofore unknown machine that had dismembered all of the soldiers in his best cohort. Kavam found and destroyed it, losing his left arm to the machine's lethal jaws. Presumably upon observation of the pair of two long, serrated tooth-like structures in its mouth, Kavam dubbed the machine a Sawtooth. He then took said blades as a trophy. Sawtooths are usually deployed singly or in groups of up to 3 to protect herds of terraforming machines such as Grazers and Lancehorns. While the terraformers are busy working, the Sawtooth patrols around the herd, on a constant lookout against perceived threats. The distinctive, heavy sound of its servo motors and its deep, fearsome growls are easily heard. Frequently they are deployed in tandem with watchers as a primary threat response, immediately converging on the position of any watcher that sounds an alarm. They may also be found patrolling circuitous paths near areas that humans use as travel routes, especially if herding terraformers are in these areas. The Ravager is a medium-sized apex combat machine, feared because of its ferocity and its powerful energy cannon. Like other combat machines, it was designed and developed by the AI Hephaestus to protect terraforming machines from predation by humans. Ravagers have a similar appearance to Sawtooths, heavy set at the front, with a large, broad chest, neck, and shoulders, powerful legs and no tail. However, a Ravager's chassis is leaner, and more closely resembles that of a large dog, although not as canine in appearance as that of the Scorcher. Additionally, instead of the metallic longitudinal crest of yellow-tipped spines seen on the backs of Sawtooths, Ravagers have a rapid-fire energy pulse cannon, dubbed a Ravager cannon. The Ravager can swivel this weapon to aim it. The Ravager is quadrupedal, with clawed feet and a head with a toothy snout. Unlike the Sawtooth, its armor plating overlaps across its head, shoulders, back, and front legs. This increases the armor's effectiveness. A canister of chill water is ensconced in its chest, in a similar manner to a Sawtooth's blaze canister. This is possibly used as a coolant. Similar to the Sawtooth, this canister is exposed initially, but will be covered in armor plating once it evolves. Ravagers are virtually exclusive to the arid regions of the Kaja Sundom north of the Kaja capital Meridian. They also roam the deserts of the Tallneck clan lands. They are deployed either as protection for herds of terraforming machines, or to patrol near established human travel routes, especially in areas where herds of terraforming machines work. It may be surmised that Hephaestus deploys them in this manner to deter humans from entering areas where herds are working. Ravagers attack humans on sight, opening fire with their cannons before the human even comes close enough to be engaged with melee attacks. If the cannon is disabled or removed, for example via tear blast arrows, the Ravager becomes more aggressive with its melee attacks. Trampler is a medium-sized equestrian class machine, tasked with the collection of mineral resources for use in the construction of new machines. Originally docile, Tramplers have become hostile toward humans with the onset of the derangement, and they now aggressively attack any human they encounter. Tramplers were designed by Gaia to be used by the system to detoxify Earth. Presumably their function was the processing and purification of toxin-laden soil. A trampler resembles an enormous bison bull with a massive head, neck and chest, thick forelegs and a relatively smaller hind section and hind legs. A pair of huge horn-like excavators, called excavating horns, are located on its massive head. These are used for digging up soil and rock. A pair of large optical sensor arrays is located in the same position as the eyes of a bovine. Its jaws resemble an insect's mandibles, presumably to scoop excavated rock and soil into its mouth to extract the resources contained therein. A power cell array is located atop its back, between the shoulders. A glowing processing unit occupies its entire abdominal area. Tramplers are invariably found in herds at sites scattered throughout the arid regions of the Kaja Sundom. A small herd is also found in the cut. Unlike other Zero Dawn terraformers, Tramplers are never accompanied by recon or combat machines as guards. The simple reason for this is that they are powerful enough to adequately defend themselves against threats. Each trampler in a herd works constantly, stopping only to change location to another spot. Head down, the trampler alternately tilts each side of its head downward, using each excavating wall to dig. Undisturbed, they walk with a slow, very plodding gait, but run with a speed that belies their size when engaging a threat. The Strider is a small acquisition class machine, equine in appearance and behavior. A human equipped with the necessary technology can utilize a Strider as mounted transport. About the size of a common draft horse, the chassis of a Strider is very equine in appearance, very closely resembling the body of a heavy-built draft horse. It stands on 4 equine legs with hooves, and has powerful shoulders. The bulk of the chassis is composed of synthetic muscle, with white armor plating over the head, shoulders and legs. A vertical dual optical sensor array is on the tip of the snout. Between the haunches is a blaze canister. The Strider seems to share a nearly identical chassis design with the Broadhead and Charger, with its main difference being the head design. Striders are invariably found in herds grazing quietly, converting the grass they ingest into blaze. For protection against threats such as hunters, they are accompanied by recon machines such as Watchers and Longlegs, or combat machines such as Sawtooths or Ravagers. Striders are quite skittish, fleeing at the sudden appearance of a human, at any sudden loud noise, or at the alert call of a watcher. If a herd encounters a human alone, usually a single Strider will stay behind to fight while the rest of the herd flees. The Snapmaw is a medium-sized acquisition class machine amphibian. They were originally created as docile water purifiers as part of Zero Dawn. However, as a consequence of the derangement, they have become a lethal danger to humans who pass within their sight at any body of water in which they are found. Snapmaws were designed by Zero Dawn's governing AI Gaia and manufactured by GAIA's subordinate function responsible for machine manufacture, Hephaestus. They were supposed to work under Poseidon, the subordinate function responsible for detoxifying Earth's poisoned rivers, lakes and seas. These had been ravaged to sterility when the Pharaoh plague destroyed the biosphere and thus exterminated all life in the mid-21st century. However, subsequent events led GAIA's self-destruction and all of the subordinate functions becoming true ash. Hostile to humans for hunting machines, Hephaestus seized control of at least 4 of Zero Dawn's machine manufacturing cauldrons, including Ro, the cauldron that made Snapmaws. To dissuade hunters, it weaponized Snapmaws and other machines, making them combat ready, and also made them hostile to humans, attacking them on sight. Snapmaw sites are scattered throughout the Karja Sundom, from the jungles of the Jewel in the south to the snowy regions in the far north. Demonic Snapmaws are found in the cut. Whether demonic or not, undisturbed Snapmaws invariably bask lazily in the sun on the bank of lakes, rivers, and other bodies of water. They purify the water and the soil at the bottom by destroying toxins and removing minerals, periodically ejecting them from the pods in the resource containers their backs. Presumably the Snapmaw can use some of its collected resources to manufacture replacement pods in situ, as no Snapmaw has ever been seen to run out of pods. The Scrapper is one of the smallest of the acquisition class machines, whose function is the gathering and recycling of resources, bodies of destroyed or otherwise non-functional machines, so that the materials could be used in the construction of more machines. Originally Scrappers were docile, posing no threat to humans. However, their behavior became more hostile as a result of the derangement. The chassis of a Scrapper bears some resemblance to the body shape of a hyena. It is quadrupedal, with a humped posture, clawed feet, no tail, and a thick, ridged neck. The machine's mouth assembly is composed of 3 circular grinders, primarily used for grinding machine parts as part of their recycling function. However, they are also used by the Scrapper in melee attacks. 2 optical sensor arrays, each composed of 4 sensors, are located on its head, in the same positions as a hyena's eyes. A radar scanner is located on its dorsal side between its shoulders, and a power cell is located between its haunches. An energy weapon capable of firing both energy bursts and laser beams is located in its mouth assembly. Scrappers are invariably found in packs of at least 2, roaming areas in search of machine chassis to recycle. Occasionally a Scrapper will stop and use its radar scanner. The Scrapper appears programmed to ignore any radar signature from the presence of a stationary object, machine or moving object that is less than the size of a human. If it detects a moving object that is at least the size of a human, the scrapper immediately runs to the vicinity of the signature and investigates. However, if the signature is from a machine or from a moving object that is smaller than a human, such as wildlife, the scrapper ignores it. The Rockbreaker is a large acquisition class machine, and one of the largest known machines, behind the Thunderjaw and Stormbird, respectively. Its main purpose is the underground mining of mineral resources, to make more machines. Rockbreakers, created by Gaia, were designed for terraforming the Earth after it was left lifeless and sterile by the Pharaoh Plague in the mid-21st century. However, after Gaia self-destructed, the AI Hephaestus altered the behavior toward humans from docility to hostility. A Rockbreaker's chassis closely resembles the body of a badger or a mole, though unlike these animals, it has a tail whose length is approximately 1/4 of the length of its body. Its most prominent feature is a massive mouth, composed of an enormous roller cone drill bit. Each cone is set in a hinged jaw. This configuration allows the bit, and therefore the mouth, to expand as needed. Twin optical sensor arrays are located in the same position on the head as a mole's eyes. However, while a mole has very poor eyesight, a Rockbreaker's optical sensors are fully functional. At the end of each of its 4 short, stout, powerful limbs is a large extremity called a digging arm that resembles an excavator's shovel. Under the machine's belly are twin blaze sacks, and twin exhaust ports are positioned atop the body at the base of the tail. The Rockbreaker is built for underground mining operations, tunneling through rock and soil with its mouth, ingesting large quantities of rock, which it processes and extracts mineral resources from. It surfaces frequently to expel large boulders, presumably boulders of processed rock, from its mouth. During activity, it may form a mound of rubble on the surface containing resources that humans find useful. At intervals it rests on the surface for a short time, presumably to release accumulated exhaust, before descending underground again. The mineral resources that it extracts are presumably collected for transport to cauldrons to manufacture new machine units. Like all large machines, Rockbreakers are never found in groups of more than 2. They are among the rarest machines to encounter in the wilds, seeming to be found primarily in mountainous or rocky terrain, with one notable exception: they have been observed only in arid regions. The Lancehorn is a small acquisition class machine. Its function is the gathering and recycling of natural resources. Herds of Lancehorns are found in the various tribal lands, particularly in snowy climates. Lancehorns were one of the machines first encountered by humans when they settled in their various tribal lands. Their main purpose seems to be to gather and process minerals from soil for use in manufacturing new machines. These resources are presumably collected for transport to cauldrons by transport machines such as shell walkers and behemoths. The Lancehorn bears a resemblance to a very large antelope or gazelle, possessing a pair of parallel horns, 4 slender legs, and a long neck. The horns are corkscrewed in appearance and rotate longitudinally like drill bits, to channel soil up into the machine for processing and mining of minerals. There is a single optical sensor at the end of the snout. Twin chill water canisters are positioned atop the lower back. This likely helps cool the drill bits on the machine's head. Twin containers are positioned above these, likely to store processed materials. A Lancehorn chassis is nearly identical to that of a Grazer. Lancehorns are always found in herds. With heads down they work, busily drilling and processing soil, stopping only to quietly change to another spot. The presence of patrolling recon and combat machines allows them to work without having to stop and look out for perceived threats. Lancehorns are skittish. If a perceived threat is identified, a herd breaks and flees. However, if the threat is very close, the closest Lancehorns will attack rather than flee. The Grazer is a small, deer-like acquisition class machine whose primary function is the production of blades from grass. Herds of Grazers are commonly found throughout the various tribes' territories. A Grazer is surveyed in overall appearance. It has a long neck with a pair of metallic antler-like structures atop its head, each composed of a long, angled base tipped with a set of 4 rotor blades. The Grazer uses these to cut grass which they then consume and convert into blades. 1. A single optical sensor array composed of 1 sensor is located at the tip of the snout. 4 blaze canisters are located on its back. Grazers are quadrupedal, with legs similar to those of a watcher, though longer. White armor plating partially covers the synthetic muscle that comprises the bulk of the chassis, on the underside of the neck, the back, the shoulders and the hips. A Grazer's chassis is similar in appearance to that of a Lancehorn. Grazers are invariably found in herds. With heads down they work, busily cutting and converting grass into blades, stopping only to quietly change to another spot. For protection against hunters, they are usually accompanied by recon machines such as Watchers or Longlegs, frequently in tandem with combat machines such as Sawtooths or Ravagers. Grazers are skittish. If a perceived threat is identified, Grazers emit a loud, shrill, rapid warble before fleeing. However, if the threat is very close, the closest Grazers will attack rather than flee. Glinthawk is an aerial acquisition class machine, one of 5 known aerial machines. Functionally, Glinthawks are the aerial counterpart of scrappers, scavenging destroyed machines. Glinthawks were designed by Gaia as part of the terraforming system's restoration of Earth's biosphere after it was obliterated by the Pharaoh Plague in the mid-21st century, destroying all life. Glinthawks perform the same function on destroyed machines that vultures perform on carrion. They process parts from the chassis of destroyed machines for recycling. Glinthawks congregate in flocks of 3 or 4, perched on or circling above higher areas such as cliffs, mountains, and mesas. Flocks are found in every known tribe's territory. Being aerial, they can easily see destroyed machine chassis, in which case they will alight on it and scavenge it, or humans, in which case they will attack. Upon spying a perceived threat or hearing a loud unusual noise, they fly in and hover over the area to investigate. The Charger is a small acquisition class machine. As such, its function is the gathering and recycling of resources. Herds of Chargers are commonly found in the various tribal lands. A human equipped with the necessary technology can utilize a Charger as a mounted transport. Charger's main purpose seems to be the manufacture of blades through the conversion of grass, similar to Stiders, Grazers, and Broadheads. A Charger's chassis very closely resembles that of a Strider or Broadhead. However, its head resembles that of a bighorn sheep. Two large, forward curving horns, similar to the horns of a bighorn ram, are located on its head. Both horns are equipped with a tool that resembles a chainsaw. An optical sensor array consisting of a sensor partially surrounded by 4 smaller sensors is located at the end of the snout. A single blaze canister is located between the haunches. The chassis is composed mainly of synthetic muscle, with white armor plating partially covering the head, neck, shoulders, hips, forelegs and hind legs. Chargers are always found in herds busily grazing on grass, which they convert into blaze. Charger herds are usually accompanied by patrolling watchers or longlegs and or sawtooths, in order to protect him from hunters and maximize efficiency. Chargers are skittish, but less so than Stiders or Broadheads. Should a perceived threat be identified, such as a nearby human, Chargers are more likely to attack rather than run. The Broadhead is a small cow-like machine, reminiscent of cattle, especially the Longhorn breed, displaying a pair of long, straight and horizontal horns likely used as tools in defense. A pair of rotary tools located below each horn help it convert plant matter into biofuel. The Broadhead seems to share a nearly identical chassis design with the Strider and Charger, with its main difference being the head design. Unlike the other two, the Broadhead has 2 blaze canisters on its back instead of 1. Like the Strider and Grazer, Broadheads seem to consume small amounts of plant matter to produce blaze. They became very commonplace and, for a long time, were peaceful machines that shied away from humans if one was spotted, pre-derangement. Broadheads have no ranged attacks but, when provoked, will set their stance and then charge at the target with alarming speed, bowling him over and doing high damage. One must take caution when overriding or taking down a Broadhead. A Broadhead's main method of attack is by charging forward and swiping with its large horns. These horns will deal significant damage per swipe, so it is best to roll out of the way. The Tallneck is a communications class machine, the only known machine of this class at present. They are the only machine not hostile to humans. Tallnecks were designed to enable long-range communications between machines. The Tallnecks were the only machines unaffected by derangement, presumably because of the durability and lack of external perception. The Tallneck resembles a giraffe in both silhouette and gait. They have no visible optical senses, and their heads are broad discs, with a data node on the top center that can be used as an access point for overriding. Their chassis is covered by heavy armor plating and an energy shield. Several long antennae-like platforms project from the back of the neck, and 4 tail-like structures are mounted in pairs on the posterior. Their feet have 10 toes in the front and 3 in the back. On their backs are 2 power converters. Tallnecks are completely solitary. walking in a predefined loop within its particular region, functioning as a communications center for other machines. The signal emitted by Tallnecks can be detected by a focus, which can be used to locate them. Tallnecks are completely oblivious to their surroundings, and as such are not hostile to humans. While a Tallneck itself is harmless to humans, unless a human wanders into their path and gets trampled, hostile enemies will frequently be in the area around its path. Tallnecks send information on everything they observe along their paths to other machines in their areas. Overriding one will reveal that portion of the map, along with settlements, campfires, and machine sites. An overridden Tallneck will also release an electrical pulse, damaging, stunning, and/or destroying any enemies within range. The Shell Walker is a medium-sized transport-class machine, primarily functioning in the transport of resources gathered and processed by other machines to cauldrons. Shell Walkers were designed by Gaia to be used in the detoxification of the Earth after it was ravaged and left lifeless by the Pharaoh Plague. Originally, Shell Walkers were docile towards humans, fleeing at the sight of humans, as did all terraforming machines. However, after Gaia self-destructed, the AI Hephaestus altered the behavior of Shell Walkers, making them hostile to humans to the point of attacking them on sight. Furthermore, Hephaestus weaponized Shell Walkers, equipping them with electric attacks and the protective energy shield. Shell Walkers may be found in groups of a few units at various sites in tribal lands. They mill about, communicating via electronic warbles. They also walk in machine convoys accompanied by watchers or longlegs, carrying their cargo to cauldrons. A Shell Walker's highest priority is the defense of its cargo. If its crate holders are destroyed, a Shell Walker will use its lightning gun, if intact, to hold its cargo container in place. Shell Walker will emit a loud, angry metallic warble, alerting other nearby Shell Walkers or other machines, raise its energy shield and let fly at the human with shots from its lightning gun. If the human is at close range, it will resort to melee attacks. Shell Walkers usually walk in a slow, precise manner. However, when attacking, they ambulate with surprising speed. When engaging a perceived threat, a Shell Walker ambulates in a manner that always keeps it facing the threat, allowing its energy shield to be most effective. Bellowbacks are machines that can fire ranged elemental attacks using frost, fire and acid. The Bellowback has a barrage of elemental attacks powered by its cargo. These range from spraying directly on the enemy to spraying around itself to engulf its surroundings in a wide arc. It is also capable of melee attacks, such as charging forward or swipes of its tail. The Bellowback's chassis bears a vague similarity to a theropod dinosaur, particularly Spinosaurus or Baryonyx. Two long, sturdy hind legs with three-toed feet, similar to those of a theropod, are attached to its torso. The torso is primarily composed of a large cargo sac carrying an elemental liquid. The exact substance contained within depends on the variant, and an array of 4 smaller tanks longitudinally located at its gullet. Just beneath the cargo sac is a long tail, at the base of which are 2 antennae. 3 elemental canisters are located at the base of the tail between the legs. The sac and tanks are semi-armored and made of a tough, transparent material that can withstand multiple arrow strikes before rupturing. A crest-like array of armor plates is located on its upper back. This protects the sac from frontal attacks. The head is primarily composed of a long, armor-plated snout. The Bellowback has no mouth. Instead, the snout ends in an opening akin to a spray nozzle. A pair of optical sensor arrays is located near the base of the head, on either side. Although classified as a medium-sized machine, the Bellowback is actually larger than the Behemoth, which is classified as a large-sized machine. Bellowbacks usually are found in pairs or groups of 3, frequently with different elemental variants. Undisturbed, they mill about their sites, emitting low, gurgling growls, their heavy footfalls reverberating. They are heavy and strong enough to knock over large trees in their way. Upon encountering a perceived threat such as a human, they emit a loud, angry shriek. The Behemoth is a large transport-class machine, inarguably the largest and most powerful known machine of this class. Its primary purpose is the collection of resources from smaller acquisition-class machines and the transport of these resources to cauldrons for machine manufacture. It collects these resources using its anti-gravity technology. With the onset of the derangement, this technology is used by the machine for lethal attacks on any human it encounters. The Behemoth's huge chassis has some resemblance to the body of a rhinoceros. It is speculated by some fans that it is based on some ancestor or relative of modern rhinos, such as an amynodont. Its head is mostly composed of a very large pyramidal snout. Its jaws consist of a pair of mandibles similar to those of a Thunderjaw. An optical sensor array is located on each side of the snout, near the mandibles. Between the mandibles is a pair of rotary tools whose primary purpose is unknown, but which it can use in attacks. On each side of its very large neck are 3 anti-gravity generators called force loaders. Its belly has a large longitudinal circular space into which a circular cargo container fits vertically, locked in place by clamps. Between its haunches is an antenna array, and on each haunch is a chill water canister. On the back of its neck sits a single power cell. A Behemoth's most potent attacks stem from its anti-gravity ability. It can manipulate gravity to employ extremely powerful rock-hurling melee attacks. Additionally, it can use its weight and physical power to generate very damaging seismic shockwaves, and hurl rock shrapnel from its mouth using the rotary tools mounted in it. Its most basic attack is a charge that inflicts severe damage due to sheer momentum. This momentum is due to the machine's huge mass and the velocity of its charge. Behemoths normally ambulate with a slow, plodding gait, but are capable of running with surprising speed when necessary. The Deathbringer is a heavyweight machine in Horizon Zero Dawn. It is not a contemporary machine. Rather, it is one of 3 machines of the ancient Chariot class, manufactured by the Robotics and Technology Corporation, Faro Automated Solutions during the mid-21st century. As such, it was designated by FAS as the FAS-FSP-5 Kopesh. One swarm of Chariot robots, including Kopeshes, went out of control, becoming the Pharaoh Plague, and ultimately eradicated all life on Earth. A Deathbringer is a large and very powerful mobile weapons platform, comparable in size to the largest contemporary combat machines. Unlike Zero Dawn machines or even the other machines in the Chariot line, Deathbringers have no resemblance to any fauna. A Deathbringer's means of ambulation consists of 6 stout legs, each with a vertical piston at the end. Each leg is equipped with a stabilizer. The legs are connected radially to a circular swivel that allows the head, which is laterally wider than the span of the legs, to turn 360 degrees. The head carries several formidable weapons: a flamethrower, a grenade launcher, a gun turret, a heavy cannon turret, a swarm missile launcher and a repeater cannon turret. The head also houses heat vents, cooling rods, and a machine's core. Tough armor plating covers the entire chassis. 2 optical sensors are located centrally at the front of the head, in a vertical location, on each side of the CPU's housing. Being an ancient war machine, the Deathbringer has no behavior other than hostility to enemy forces as defined by its master. In the case of the Pharaoh Plague Deathbringers, enemy forces were any human forces and any machines that were not part of their swarm. In the case of Deathbringers that had been reactivated by Hades, enemy forces were any enemy of the Eclipse. Of all known machines, control towers are unarguably the most unique, in that they look botanical rather than zoological, are completely stationary, and pose no direct or indirect threat to humans, with the possible exceptions of their pulse capability and their automatic repair, buffing of the machines that typically guard them. Their sole purpose is the maintenance and repair of damaged machines. A control tower resembles a short palm tree. Its constant swaying movement resembles that of certain small stationary marine fauna such as sea anemones. The chassis consists of a stout, tree trunk-like armored structure with 6 leaf-like structures at the apex, surrounding a central emitter. At the base of the machine are 3 data nodes. Near the top of the chassis is a triangular extendable cooling element, which the machine briefly extends following the release of its energy pulse. A control tower has no behavior other than to sway back and forth, repairing and maintaining machines within its radius of influence via its energy pulse. They are completely defenseless, and are therefore guarded by demonic combat-ready machines.